voted for Trump in 2020 and I deeply regret it. But here's the thing. If you also voted for Trump and you also regret voting for Trump, not every online space is the right place to share that regret, especially right now. The reason I'm addressing this is because last week I posted a TikTok wearing a MAGA hat, the bright red original 2016 MAGA hat. I found it at Goodwill and I bought it because I think it's a historical relic. But one of my friends messaged me and said, hey, that's really not appropriate for right now, and I really recommend that you take it down. And their DM was like really kind and really gracious. And several people also said the same thing in the comment section. And initially, I agreed with them, but I couldn't quite articulate why. Because why wouldn't you want to tell as many people online as possible that you regret voting for Trump and that Trump is clearly very dangerous? But it really made sense for me after I attended the memorial service for a young man who had passed away at my church. And basically, I had seen this young man around church. I had never personally met him. I knew who his family was. And tragically, he passed away from a long illness. And so I went to the memorial service because we've been experiencing really cold weather here in Central Texas. And I just wanted to show up. I wanted to be a face of support. So I sat in the crowd. I knew many people who were very close to him. They were all grieving, obviously. And the service was about an hour and 90 minutes. And after the service, everyone was invited to a reception that was also on location. And as everyone was milling to go toward the reception, I felt this like discomfort in my physical body, kind of like, oh, like I really don't want to attend this reception, and I kind of paced the halls a little bit. I was trying to see if there's anyone I could talk to. And ultimately, I went out to my car because what I realized is that the reception doesn't feel like it's for me. Right? And I'm a sympathetic crier. And I knew that if I went to the reception and saw other people crying, I would also cry. But the thing is, the people who were feeling the most, the people who needed to grieve the most, were not me. I was not one of those people. The grief and sadness that I was feeling as someone who really didn't know this young man were very, very secondary and very tertiary. And what I needed to do was go home and talk to my husband about how heartbreaking it was that such a young man, a teenager, someone full of life, someone who was surrounded by community, passed away tragically, and that it really was untimely. Later on, I went, oh my God, that is exactly how I feel with this regret around my vote for Trump. I voted for him in 2020, not 2024, but I still feel regret for it. And there are so many spaces online where I can share that regret, but most of my community on TikTok is really struggling with the violence that they are watching unfold with ICE in Minneapolis, across the country. I live in Central Texas, where ICE is starting to ramp up here a little more. And the people that need to hear about my Trump regret are not in this space. And so for me to share, oh my God, I'm so full of regret that I voted for Trump, like it's making me feel things. We need to prioritize the grief, anger, and sadness of those who are so far past that point, and especially prioritize the experience of violence that people are having in their real life because of the Trump administration. Hopefully that made sense. But if you are watching this as a former fundie, ex-evangelical, someone who's deconstructing, drop a comment. Let me know if this makes sense to you and if this resonates. And thank you for watching.
MAGAs are speaking up. The MAGAs are speaking up. They cannot longer stomach what this administration is giving them. And now they are going online to say all of that. Isn't that interesting? This is interesting. You know what? This is 2026. We are in the midterm season. Midterm election is coming out in a couple of, months, right? So for the MAGAs to be coming out, to be saying all of this, I can bet you this administration, they are listening. Let's go listen to more how the MAGAs are just turning on this administration. Credit to the creators.
BuzzFeed put out a really interesting article that's titled "Orange Man Supporters Who Finally Woke Up from the MAGA Cult in 2026 Are Revealing Their Last Straw." And a Reddit user dropped the question, saying, anyone who used to support Orange Man and has changed their mind over the last few weeks, what made you change? And there were about 7,000 responses within 2 days. One user, who's from Minneapolis, has woken up because of the tragedies that took place in Minneapolis, specifically with Alex Preddy. Another comment says, my in-laws, closet Donald voters, are mad that they can't make National Park camping reservations. Like, that's the most important thing going on in this country right now. This user writes, I'm a moderate and honestly, he lost me when he and Vance were berating Zelensky in the Oval Office. This user writes, the fact that they are using the weaponization of federal government against American citizens and political opponents. The lack of due process going on. Kidnapping of foreign leaders such as Maduro. The idea of him running for a third term. threats of economic damage, and even annexation and invasion of long-standing allies. This user here says his parents were disgusted by the comments of the death of Rob Reiner, where he mentions to his parents about all of the despicable things he said during his first term. But 10 years later, they're finally disgusted. This user writes, I allowed myself to be brainwashed, and I own that I was wrong. I voted for him and cried when he won the first time, and defended his first term actions online. Yeah, I thought the wall was a waste of money, but none of that opened my eyes. I refused to watch the J6 footage, believing that it was a hoax, like I was told by all the conservative news media. My eyes were open, but slowly. I regret to say that I was duped. Does that make me stupid? Yeah, it does. But at least now I can see the light, and I'm beyond enraged now. I wish I hadn't swallowed all that fake news CNN shit. I really wish I had not voted for him just because he wasn't Hillary, but I am now the only registered Democrat in my family. This user writes, my wife and her mom voted for him because they thought he would lower their taxes. She's a federal worker and works in grants management, so her opinion changed pretty quickly. Probably because she lost her job. This user writes, I initially supported frozen water until I saw what was happening in Minnesota. When Renee was unalived, a switch completely flipped in me, and now I can see what is really happening. I am pissed off with the blatant lies and lack of compassion and the all-out bullying, not to mention unaliving, that is happening to American citizens. This administration must be stopped. This user writes that she's pretty much afraid to be racially profiled, and she's afraid because the Supreme Court backed a decision saying that it's justifiable to stop and detain someone without proof of citizenship on their person if they seem suspicious, and being not visibly white is just considered just cause. Number 11 is a double whammy, where it says not me, but one of my former friends only stopped defending the POS when he started badmouthing Somalis several weeks ago because his wife's side of the family is Somali, and he himself is Haitian. I'm going to do a part 2 on this, but this is just some of the testimonials of some folks from that article.
MAGA or Maple MAGA family members that you are estranged from for those reasons or associated reasons. One of the things that I find really difficult about this is not having a window into the mindset as the headlines continue to play out. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'll try to explain. Like, we get a new Epstein file drop. There's fresh threats on Canadian sovereignty. The Trump administration or Trump himself crosses a different, crazier, scarier red line against Canada, the world, his own people. We get more information about his past, what he's done to people in the past from credible sources. And I don't know what is going on in my dad's mind about this. Is he rationalizing these things? Is he writing them off as a hoax? Is he saying, actually, I think that's completely fine? I don't know. And I just feel like in order to understand whether I ever want to have a relationship with him ever again or not, I need to understand that. The other day, my dad texted me and he just wanted to tell me that he was really proud of my young teenage daughter and that I'm a good mom and I'm doing a good job raising her. And yes, I am a good mom. And yes, she is an amazing kid who's working really hard and I am so proud of her. But did you see the Epstein file drop and what's in it, Dad? If you want to text me those things and you want to talk about my amazing daughter that you would like to have more access to than you do, I'm really going to need you to update your views or explain them to me, like now. And it's the fact that that never comes. And so every time things get worse, I have to then imagine or understand the reality that my dad has now moved the goalpost again and is again like, yeah, I still support him, even though now he's 10 times worse of a human being than he was 5 minutes before. You know what I mean? And so then my opinion of my dad, my ability to have a relationship with my dad is now even more diminished. I feel like there's nothing I can do about that. And I saw that SNL sketch last night about the mom approaching her liberal children and being like, coming clean that she thinks that Trump has taken it too far, finally. And the kid's like screaming at her because it's, well, of course, we've been telling you this the whole time. And her getting mad because she's trying to be vulnerable. And it's like, that sketch is like my dream. Like, SNL was doing some important shit with that. I'm so angry that every time we have to learn more disgusting, horrible things about that man, we become traumatized along with the rest of the world by having to know about his actions towards children and vulnerable people, having to have borne witness to this insane escapade that this administration has been and the previous administration and the whole Epstein file, everything. We are all tarnished with that evilness. But I am now also inextricably entangled in it with my dad, because I know he also has eyes and ears and can see the news. Every time it gets worse, our relationship becomes invisibly but profoundly more fucked. And I guess I'm just wondering if anyone else feels this way. The last thing is that my dad is Christian. My dad identifies as Christian. He is involved in his church. He believes in Jesus. That's how we were raised. And all 4 of his children essentially disentangled themselves from the religion in our teens and walked away from it all. It is so profoundly strange now for me to be constantly thinking about the words of Jesus, and for me to feel like I understand the words of Jesus when he talked about being kind to children, being kind to the immigrant, the loaves and fishes Jesus, the Beatitudes Jesus, the blessed is the meek, blessed are the poor in spirit Jesus. I don't know if my dad would recognize Jesus if Jesus slapped him across the fucking face. And it is so strange to feel that way and to know that that is true when I am not at all religious and do not wish to be. But the Bible says you will know them by their fruit. You will know them by their fruit. What fruits of the Spirit do we see in Trump, kids? Which ones? Please tell me. Please name them. I'm dying to know. I don't want to feel more associated with Jesus and the Bible. It's not my thing. This is a weird place to be.
That is the power of your vote. Sometimes you ain't even got to say nothing. You know what I mean? But you let your vote speak for you. That's what some MAGAs are doing. Some MAGAs are not coming online to say anything, but they are speaking with their vote. Can you imagine Texas flipped to blue? Can you just imagine what President Donald Trump won? Now he lost it by how many points? Just like that guy said. That's what I'm telling you. Now this 2026 midterm election, a lot of people are looking. They are just waiting for it. A lot of people are looking at, how is it gonna be? Is it gonna be a red wave? Is it gonna be a blue wave? You know that slogan that they always say, red wave, blue wave. What is it gonna be? But with this special election coming up in red district, and they are flipping it to blue, speaks the MAGAs are speaking up. Let's keep listening.
As most people probably don't know, Donald Trump actually did a rally this week. He went to Iowa, very small town, very tiny venue, because he knows he can't pack them out like he used to. So he goes to Iowa, does a rally. There's not really footage floating around of it on the internet as there usually is. Everybody just kinda didn't know it was happening. But people did show up. Trump supporters showed up, and a couple of them, speaking to MS Now's Vaughn Hilliard, admitted, we're not happy with what this guy has done. We're not happy with the economy. We're not happy with the mass roundups of ICE. We don't like any of this. Here's what they said. This is Marcia and Michael, who asserted they voted for Trump, but now are having second thoughts. Asked if the immigrant roundups were what she expected, Marcia replied, not like they're doing, not like this, not like this. This is horrible, just horrible. I'm sick to my stomach. And then Michael was asked, does what you see make you uncomfortable? And Michael responded, yeah, I mean, I think anytime someone gets shot in the street, you should be uncomfortable and ask how we got to that point and what we can do to not get to that point again. It's happened twice, so something clearly isn't working. The rules are there. They need to be enforced, but can't be shooting people in the street either. Michael, I got news for you, buddy. How did we get here? You, motherfucker! You voted for the asshole! How did we get to this point? Who would have thought it is this bad? I don't know. Everybody that tried to warn you all of 2024 that things were going to be horrible. I like, right? I do like that they don't like what's happening. That they're admitting, wow, yeah, this guy is bad. But to act like you don't know how we got here, go look in the mirror, Mike. You and your vote did this to these people. Your vote killed not 2, 9 people in the streets of the United States of America. You know what? That's how we ought to frame this right now. It's not just Trump. The deaths of all 9 of those people. The blood is on the hands of the Trump voters. If you voted for Trump, you're partially to blame for those people being dead. If you voted for Trump, you're partially to blame for those people dying in ICE custody. That's what you did. You're responsible for Venezuela. You're responsible for all of our former European allies.
People just do not know the power of their vote. They do not know that their vote, that you go between you, yourself, and the vote, that vote got alive. That vote got alive. A lot of people just do not know it. Sometimes, we know that the campaign season mostly happen during summer. We all want to be out there. So we get carried away with the music. We get carried away with the talk that being said on the campaign trail. All they just got to do is say something that we want to hear while we are listening to music, cracking jokes, and we forgot to ask the question for the future. So a lot of people just do not know the power of their vote. And I would say this guy, he put it at best, that if you are asking, how do we get here? Go there and go back in your room. What did you do with your vote? Did your vote give a life? If you can ask that question, if your vote give a life, does your vote make things better? If you can answer the question, I think you're going to know how we got here.
So I did a post, it's Sunday, it's about 10 a.m. I did a post right before this one on my page about the 2 elections that happened in Texas last night. And the Democrats won both. And there was a state Senate race that Donald Trump won that district by 17 points a year ago, November, and a Democrat won it last night by 14 points. That's a 31-point swing. And here's the thing. All of Trump's strategies or schemes or whatever to steal the 2026 midterms will only work if the margins of victory are very close for Democrats. If it's a 30-point swing or a 15-point swing from Republicans to Democrats, there's nothing that Donald Trump or his little minions are going to be able to do about that. If the margin of victory is that large, and they say that election was stolen, they're going to look like idiots. I mean, Fox News won't even take them seriously. Because remember, Fox News had to pay out almost $800 million for saying the 2020 election was stolen. Fox News is not going to do that again. They're already getting sued by their shareholders for paying out $800 million voluntarily because they let all their hosts lie about Dominion voting machines on air. But there's been like an average of an 8 to 12-point swing from Republican to Democrat in every special election that has taken place since Election Day 2024. Now, do not confuse that with people saying, oh my God, I'm so happy I get to vote for Democrats and endorse all of the policies of the Democrats over the last year. No, voters are so disgusted with Donald Trump that they'll be like, oh, fuck. Fine, whatever, I'll vote for the Democrat because I'm not voting for the Republican. You know, it's a choice between a shit sandwich and a shit sandwich with ketchup. And it's like you listen to Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, and they're taking all of these Democrat victories over the last year as a full-throated endorsement of the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party's policies. And it's not that. They're just not going to vote for the Republican because they need to vote against Donald Trump. But if the margins of victory for Democrats in November are as large as they were last night, there's nothing that Trump and his people can do about that, regardless of how hard they try.
It's a choice between shit sandwich and a shit sandwich with ketchup. I don't know how he arrived to that, but these days, with our politicians, he put it at best. You know what I mean? Because as an independent mind, right, looking for a candidate that will give you everything you want, sometimes you don't get it from Democrats. Sometimes you might get it from Republicans. And sometimes you don't get it from Republicans. You might just get it from Democrats. So, just like he said, people that want to go out to vote, not because they want to vote because they love Democrat, but they just want to vote because, okay, we gave Republican a chance and they did not deliver. That's the mindset of the people. If the politicians, any candidate can understand that, like if you promise that you are going to do something for the people that are going to give you their vote, you just got to do it. You just got to do it. If you say you are going to make sure the economy is better within 6 months, within a day, within a year, you just got to do it. If you don't, they are waiting for the election time, just like we are in this midterm election. This is 2026. The midterm is around the corner. People are not like going by any party anymore. They just want a candidate. They want a party that will, come to the table, hear them, listen, and understood what they are going through and fix it. They don't care who can fix it. If an independent candidate can fix it, they are going to vote for that independent candidate. But what do you think? What do you guys think? Let's continue the conversation down there. I think 2026 midterm election, a lot of people are going to be like, we are going out to vote. So this is not the time. This is not the time for anybody to be saying, oh, I'm a Democrat, I'm not going to vote for Republican. Oh, I'm a Republican, I ain't going to vote for Democrat. No, gone are those days. Gone are those days. Any candidate giving you what you want, that is whoever that can give the people what they want. That's the candidate that's going to get the vote in this midterm coming up. What do y'all think? I am going to catch up with you guys later. Bye for now.